Last month I did a video called My $1 Million Lead Generation System, and it's had 25,000 views. It goes for about 20 minutes and it talks you through what to put on a landing page, what to put as the questions that you're going to ask your customer and collect data, and it talks about how to follow up afterwards. Now, if you haven't seen the video, we're talking about an online assessment. So I talked about the idea that rather than selling what you do, sell the assessment to see if people need what you do. And it's an incredibly effective way to generate leads. In fact, I ran this idea past Alex Hormozi recently, and he said a zillion %. This is one of the most effective ways he has ever generated leads as well. So this is the online assessment, and it's essentially, you're going to do this if you sell software, if you sell consulting or coaching, if your business is an agency. Rather than selling those services directly, sell a free assessment so that people can see how much they would benefit from those services. So I ran through that step by step, but there were a number of follow-up questions. In the comments, people were asking questions and I wanted to go through them one by one so that you can implement the $1 Million Lead Generation System in your business. Question number one is about putting video on the page. So on the landing page, we want to see if we can really ramp up conversion. Now, if you send people to a normal website, a stock standard website, the conversion on that is terrible. You'll get about a 2 to 4% conversion of people opting in or sharing their data or sharing any information. Almost any call to action that you put on a standard website, you get a 2 to 4% conversion. But when you send people to an assessment, you get a 20 to 40% conversion. It is literally 10 times more effective to send someone to one of these assessments than to send them to a landing page. Now, if you want to really ramp up conversion, put a video on the landing page. So you want to have a social pitch and you want to explain who you are, what kind of problem or pain that you solve, what makes you famous or different or credible. You want to talk about what is the purpose of the assessment and what are the immediate benefits that you'll get if you take the assessment. Right now, if you can get all of that into 1 or 2 minutes, you're going to have a very, very high converting page. Now, I have one of these assessments that is linked to a workshop. So basically, I ask people to fill in the assessment and then get a ticket to a workshop that I run. And this has been one of our most effective lead generation strategies over at Dent Global for the last 3 years. And the reason that it's been so effective is I just nailed a video take. There is one video take that I got right and I hit on all the right bases, and that video has really ramped up conversions, and we've not messed with it. We've just let it run week after week. And for probably about 150 weeks in a row, it's been one of our top performing lead generation assets simply because I got a really good take of the video. When people watch that video, which people do, they then opt in and they turn up to that workshop. So they answer the questions, they turn up to the workshop. It's been phenomenal at lead generation. It's been amazing for data capture, and I can't think how many millions worth of sales we've done off the back of that one landing page. So I actually just checked the real numbers, and since we launched that particular scorecard, we've had 115,000 visits to the landing page, 38,000 people opted in, and it's a 33% conversion on really large numbers. So that is a wildly successful campaign. If you've been in marketing, that's as good as it gets. So those are the real numbers for that campaign. And I think a lot of that is down to getting that particular video right. I regularly get asked the question, how do you send traffic to a landing page? How do you get people to go and click on a landing page so that they can complete a scorecard, opt in for a workshop, do an online assessment, right? Where are you getting the traffic from? Well, you've got two choices. You can go with free or paid. You can either throw time at the problem or you can throw money at the problem. Those are the only two things that you can do. So let's start with free. So with free, it's organic social posting and direct messaging. So organic social posting is where you post every single day. I hate to say this, but the world has moved to the point where if you're not posting every single day, you're leaving money on the table. The algorithms are optimized for consistency. They want you to post every single day. I post every single day on Instagram. I post every single day on LinkedIn. I post every single day on other platforms as well. It sucks, but that's just how the world works right now. You need to put something on those platforms every single day. You're better off putting just even a small little post than putting nothing at all, right? So just be on there every single day. It will shock you, some of the posts that go viral. Some of my most produced posts get low views, and some of my random videos where I'm just walking around holding the camera in the garden go to 20, 30, 40,000 people. So you need to get over your fear or aversion to doing this and just simply say, if you want to get the money, if you want to get paid, if you want your business to grow, you need to be posting more organically. And the other thing about posting regularly organically is it reduces the cost of paid ads as well. So the more that I post organically and the more that I actually have an organic social media following, the more my paid ads will work on top of that. The other thing you can do for free is sending direct messages. I know you probably don't want to hear this, but when I've been launching businesses in the past, I typically average about 100 direct messages per day, so 3,000 per month, and I'm just firing out direct messages. I craft some little direct messages that I'm posting, and I say cut, paste, send, cut, paste, send, cut, paste, send. I find people who are interested in the topic using hashtags and using groups, and I just send them a direct message and say, I think you might be interested in this. I'm alternating between short form content and long form content. Short form is just stuff people can glance at or understand within a minute. Long form requires maybe 2 to 20 minutes in order to consume it. So I want to balance between short form and long form. Same with organic posting and same with direct messages. So a short message might be, check this out, I think you'll enjoy it. A long message might be, I want to tell you a bit of a story about something that happened recently that I think you'd be interested in, right? So short posts, long posts, short organic posts, long organic posts, short messages, long messages. So I do a lot of that when I'm throwing time at the problem. Once I'm clear that my messages are landing, that we're getting conversion, that people are responding positively, then I move over to paid. So with paid, we've got some different types of advertising. If someone knows what they want and they're searching for what they want, we want to use Google Ads. If someone doesn't know what they want, they're problem aware or frustration aware, or they're interested in something that they're going to discover that they weren't particularly thinking about, we want to use Facebook ads. When I say Facebook, I mean Facebook and Instagram and that whole ecosystem. So Google is very good for what's called high intent advertising. So someone says, I'm looking for a fitness trainer in Wandsworth, right? Google ads are good for that. Instagram ads are good for when people are browsing, they don't know what they want, but something pops into their feed and they go, ooh, remarkably, that's of interest. So I put ads on both of those platforms, and what I'm looking for is what's called an allowable cost per lead. So for one of my businesses, the allowable cost per lead is about £15, but we've been able to get leads as cheap as £5. So we're doing really, really well, but we don't freak out if the ads are under £15 per lead. We're totally fine with that. If they come down to £5 a lead, we double down and we actually spend more money because we're getting cheap leads. The other way that you can pay is through paid sponsorships. So you can actually ask influencers to promote your scorecards using a paid promotion or a paid sponsorship. You can sponsor events and you can be a speaker or exhibitor at an event, and you can actually direct people over to your scorecards or your assessments using those paid promotions. So you can have paid promotions, paid sponsorships where you pay other organizations to be including you in their messaging. So those are your options, free or paid, and there's a few little things that you can do there. There's no magic formula, there's no magic wand. You just need to say, am I going to throw time or money at this, and then get on with it. I get asked the question, do you think this digital strategy would work for a brick and mortar business? Now, I personally do not believe in brick and mortar businesses or digital businesses. I think digital businesses need to connect with people in the real world. Real world brick and mortar businesses need to connect with people online as well. We are well past the point of distinguishing between online and offline. If you go and walk down the street, down the road here, everyone's on their phone. They are experiencing the real world and the digital world. If you go into any restaurant, people are on their phones, they're experiencing the real world and the digital world. You need to be blending the two. So if you had a brick and mortar business, let's say you had a gym, let's say you had a veterinary practice, let's say you had a real estate agency, right? Any business that actually has a footprint on a high street, something along those lines, yes, you want to engage with people in the digital world. You want to have QR codes that people can use their phone and engage with something digitally. You want to have links that people can click if they're walking past or they're driving past and they see your URL, they go, oh, there's something that I can do if I want to do something digitally. You want to have collateral, you want to have brochures or business cards or things that people can grab on your physical premises so that they can go off and do something digitally. So please don't think of your brick and mortar business as being divided from the online world. We're living in a world where the online and offline world are one and the same thing. So you may wonder, you've launched a scorecard, you've launched an assessment, but it's not working. So how do you diagnose what's going wrong? First things first, it's very, very normal to launch anything on the online world and for it not to work immediately. Most websites need optimizing, most campaigns need adjusting. If you've ever worked with YouTube videos, you know that some of them hit a home run and get tens of thousands of views. Some just bomb and they get a few thousand views, and you have to tweak and optimize and make adjustments. It's very, very rare that you launch something and it's just a home run straight away. So there's a few things that I want you to start thinking about. If you have launched something and you are getting traffic, but they're not converting to a lead, then you've not made a big enough promise or you've not hit on a big enough pain. So you're getting traffic, but they're not filling in the quiz, they're not engaging, they're not doing the assessment. then you basically haven't given them enough reasons to do it. So here's what you could do to increase conversion. You could be clearer about the pain that you solve. You could be clearer about the prize that you deliver. You could be clearer about your credibility or your past performance in delivering that outcome. Those are some of the things that you can get right. Sometimes the design elements can be off. I've seen some of the scorecards that just don't look professional. Someone's rushed it through. They haven't put nice images. They haven't done nice colors and fonts. It just looks messy. You need to apply a bit of a design eye to your scorecard so that it looks credible. It looks like a proper business has done this. It doesn't look like it's just a cheap and quick thing that you've done to kind of scrape data, right? So it has to look like it's got some quality and some permanence to it. So those are some of the things I would encourage you to do to get more conversions. Now, often the person who asks me this question is actually getting leads, but they're not converting those leads into sales. And that's a very, very common thing that we see with people who launch a scorecard. They get the leads, but they don't get the sales. Now that's a problem called product market fit, PMF, right? In Silicon Valley, they call this product market fit. And it basically means that you've identified a problem, you've identified a frustration, you've identified that there are people out there who want to solve this, but you're not offering them the offer or the package at the price that they're willing to pay. So you haven't established this thing called product market fit. Now what you need to do is you need to come up with gold, silver, and bronze packages. You need to say, okay, at this price we can do all of these things. At the silver price we can do all of these things. At the gold price, look at all the things that we can include. And you need to put more offers in front of people so you can test to see if product market fit can be improved. But assume that you don't have product market fit. What does it feel like to have product market fit? People are biting your hands off. When you put an offer in front of them, they cannot wait to get started. You've created a perfect fit between the problem or frustration that they're experiencing and the way that you solve that and the way that you deliver the outcome that they want. You've just married that up perfectly. Boom, that energy just explodes and people buy very, very rapidly. I've had businesses where we've kind of been trundling along for a year, tweaking things, making adjustments, and when we get the offer right, oh my goodness, we get the exponential growth. The conversions go from 3, 4, 5% to 15 to 20%. So product market fit is a really important concept to look into if you're generating leads but not getting sales. A great question people ask is, can I charge for my assessment? Because it adds so much value to people. I've seen Myers-Briggs assessments that are making a lot of money. I know Jordan Peterson created a paid assessment where lots and lots of people filled in an assessment about their personality. I've seen all sorts of organizations charge for assessments. Now the trick, if you're going to charge for assessments, is that you are going to get way lower conversions. So you're going to get, for every 1,000 people that you send over to a paid assessment, you might get only a few people who actually fill this in. Especially if you don't have a big brand or a lot of trust with your following, you're going to find it very difficult to get people to pay for an assessment. Now, if you do one-to-one sales and you sell the assessment, you actually tell people that it's very important that they take this assessment and it's part of a paid process, you might be able to charge for an assessment under that context, but you're going to get lower conversions. Most of the people who make a lot of money with online assessments, they make the assessment free and they use it as lead generation to then monetize with solutions. So the assessment identifies a problem and then that problem informs the scope of work and then they charge for that scope of work. And that tends to be the most successful way to monetize for most businesses. Unless I see that you've got hundreds of thousands of followers and huge amounts of trust with your audience, I would say it's probably best not to charge for an assessment, just use it as lead generation. Of course, people want to know, is a scorecard or an assessment expensive to set up and maintain? When I launched my very first scorecards and assessments, man, they were expensive. We spent $15,000 to $20,000 building each one of the assessments. I actually built 3 of them, and on average they were $15,000 to $20,000 to build. We had to code them into WordPress. We had to have designers and coders working on this. Every time we wanted to tweak it or improve it, we had to get in there and do more coding. These were expensive projects, but it was worth it. We made millions and millions of dollars worth of sales off the back of a 15 to 20 grand investment. So I was thrilled with that expense. However, most people don't have 15 to 20 grand to start with. So when we built ScoreApp, it was just so amazing to see people being able to set up these assessments for free. And then once they're working, pay as little as $39 or $79 a month, depending on how big their business is. And then they can actually just have this ongoing. As soon as it stops working, they can switch it off. No commitment, no setup costs. All of that has been removed thanks to scoreapp.com. So if you're worried about cost, the real thing that you're looking for is, can you generate affordable leads And the number one cost that you should be measuring is allowable cost per lead. If you can generate leads at an allowable cost, you can scale to the absolute moon, because so long as you're generating leads at an allowable cost per lead, happy days. The other day I was on a big podcast and everything was running hot that week around my personal brand. So we launched some ads and we were getting leads at £4 a lead, which is a lot less than our allowable cost per lead. So we ramped up the spend. We were spending £4,000 or £5,000 a day on ads, and we were getting 1,000 leads per day. And that was totally fine, because we know that that is an allowable cost per lead, and we can just scale the business up bigger and faster than ever because we're within our allowable cost per lead. So if you're thinking about budget, that's the number one thing to be thinking about. So I love this question. It's about, should I have multiple scorecards? Should I set up lots of different scorecards for all the different things that I do? Categorically, yes, 100%. You should have 4, 5, 6 different scorecards. When you can identify different problems that you solve or solutions that you deliver, set up a scorecard for each of those. So for example, let's say you're in the health and wellness business. You might set up a scorecard about eczema, or you might set up a scorecard about weight loss, or you might set up a scorecard about muscle gain, or you might set up a scorecard around energy. Those are each major drivers as to why someone might come and see your clinic. So why not have a scorecard for each of those that helps people to identify what's going on and why they should work with you? So for every major thing that you can solve, set up a different scorecard and watch those leads just come rolling in. At the moment, I've got 8 to 10 different scorecards running. We've got some that link people to workshops, some that link people to content, some that link people to just an assessment result. All of them are doing different things. We've got some that are for startups, some that are for bigger businesses. They're all running and they've each got their own purpose. I just love as many leads as I can possibly get, and I just want those leads to just keep coming in so that we can grow and that we can scale and we can be oversubscribed. Do not limit yourself to one idea. Have lots of ideas and see which one works best. So a couple of rapid fire questions. How quickly after a lead comes in should I follow up? The research says the sooner the better, even if you were to call them straight away. There is no benefit in waiting. In the first 5 to 10 minutes, you are talking to someone who in that moment is frustrated and looking for a solution. Why not just call them straight away? There are lots of case studies where people double or triple businesses because they just follow up with leads faster. So if you can follow up faster, that's way better than waiting till tomorrow or the day after. Right, get onto that lead as soon as you possibly can. The next one is, what is a typical lead to conversion rate? Now, at the moment, we're seeing that the lead to conversion rate is dropping across all industries. So it used to be that about 10 leads got you 1 sale, then it was 20 leads got you 1 sale, then it was 30 leads got you 1 sale. At the moment, it's about 50 leads per sale. I know that might sound a bit scary, but the reason that it's happening is because it's never been cheaper or easier to get leads. Businesses that are succeeding online, they're reaching people on TikTok, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and those leads are coming in and people are clicking a link and they're engaging. And sometimes those leads can come in thick and fast, hundreds per day, and sometimes they can come in cheap, maybe £4 or £5 or £6 per lead. So because it's so easy for people all over the world to engage with your scorecard, some of them are going to buy and some of them are not going to buy. So across all industries, we're seeing lead to conversion rates dropping, but we're actually seeing cost per sale coming down. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but the marketing cost per sale is getting cheaper even though less people are buying, because the cost of getting people to engage is coming down. So don't expect every single person to buy. It's perfectly normal to sometimes have 50 leads and only make 1 sale. One question I got asked is about, are there any secrets to making this work really, really well? The secret is to use your scorecard, to use your assessment as a way of segmenting your list. Within every 100 leads that come in, 1 person has 15% of the budget, 9 people have got 45% of the budget, and 90 people have just 40% of the budget spread between them. So that means just 10 people have 60% of the money to spend. So your job with your scorecard, if you really want to ramp this up, is rather than talking to all the leads, to include questions in your scorecard that help you to segment and find the needle in the haystack, find the person who's going to be that perfect client who's got money to spend. The best examples of people who are using scorecards, they don't just use it for lead generation, they use it for lead qualification as well. So if you can put good questions into your scorecard that help you to segment your list, you're going to make more sales, you'll make bigger sales, and it'll take less energy, less effort, and less time to do so. So here's what I want you to do next. If you are new to using ScoreApp, if you're new to assessments and scorecards, I want you to go to scoreapp.com, get yourself a free account, get signed up, use the templates, and launch a scorecard to see what happens. And if you've already got scorecards and assessments, I would like you to A, improve the ones that you've got, and B, see if you can launch a second one so that you can do some A versus B testing and see if you can generate more leads through the first one or the second one. So just get a little bit more active with these scorecards and assessments so that you can generate more leads, higher quality leads, and that you can segment your list and make more money. Okay, let me know how you go. Leave me a comment below which one of those questions was helpful for you. If you haven't done so already, you may want to check out the original video, my $1 million lead magnet. There'll be a link below as well. I'll see you soon.